Your shift begins with a cue before it begins with a thought. The dashboard opens, and your shoulders tighten before the first row loads. You enter the task page, but the benchmark is already inside it.
At first, it looks simple. Read, tag, rate, submit, move on. Then one uncertain label turns the whole shift into borrowed confidence.
You are here to label data, but the queue keeps teaching you triage. The model wants examples, but the review system wants proof. Screen light hits first, and your morning starts under rubric glow. You move quietly with shortcuts, comments, and the pressure to disappear. The benchmark never shouts at you, which is why the control hides.
One wrong choice can stain the whole batch in your mind. You start measuring rows in seconds before they become consequences.
No one follows every move, yet the queue still does. By now, every task feels half dataset and half evidence. You read prompts, chase edge cases, and guess what the rubric wants. Then you check the guideline before the first answer feels stable. The batch needs closure, but the shift also needs speed. You begin learning that annotation is also judgment translation. A bad tag can feel bigger than 10 clean rows. Then you see the trap. Flow has to keep pace with certainty. You clear one task quickly, but the next one is already claiming you. You finish one batch, but review is already waiting. You open another row because the queue does not forgive hesitation. You move fast anyway because the platform does not slow for doubt. No one says hurry, but the interface is built like urgency. An ambiguous prompt can still feel accusatory when the timer keeps moving. You cannot see the whole model, so you start correcting yourself first. Was the instruction vague? The benchmark narrow? The reviewer already deciding? You keep your face neutral because audits, queues, and rankings are part of it. Even your judgment starts learning the rhythm of acceptable mistakes. You move through the queue carrying yesterday's rejection and today's target together. The space between tasks is not rest, only transition with pressure built in. A blocked judgment can feel like lost minutes and lost trust at once. You turn toward the next row, already apologizing inside your shoulders. The rubric asks for order, while the data gives you ambiguity. That is when the job splits, policy on one side, judgment on the other. By now, you are not only labeling text, you are constantly translating. A rejected row can haunt the walk back to the guideline. You start hearing performance in clicks, pings, scrolls, and quiet warnings. And the review queue keeps teaching you that proof is part of working. The ache starts in your wrist before the task count admits it. You lean toward the screen, twist in the chair, and read through blur. A messy edge case can turn one easy row into a neck decision. You sit carefully, but care does not remove bad posture. Some shifts send you from ranking to review to rework without mercy. You make your body fit workflows that were never built for recovery. The queue gets heavier as disputed rows keep returning to the same screen. The system sees completion, but your fingers remember every shortcut. You keep your face calm while your lower back learns the desk map. Review waits after labeling, which means after the mind already pays.
The dashboard does not bruise you, it organizes where the bruising lands.
You become careful with fatigue, hiding it from coworkers and yourself.
A delayed review steals time, then steals lunch, then steals patience.
You drink too little because the next batch is already boarding your mind. You hover over the keyboard just long enough to call it breath. Then the next ping turns the pause back into motion.
Fatigue starts sounding like clicks, scrolls, pings, and tired silence.
By now, your body feels like office equipment in human clothing.
The worst part is looking replaceable while you are wearing down. That is the trick. The damage arrives dressed like remote flexibility. You start cutting corners on comfort before you notice it. You eat quickly, click quickly, and call it staying available.
A failed benchmark can poison a whole shift in your head. You stop correcting small unfairness because correction costs minutes you owe elsewhere. A reviewer comment can feel like an audit under screen light.
So you become careful with posture, pace, rows, and phrasing.
You learn to move through small humiliations without stopping the queue. A returned task can turn politeness into apology before the batch closes. No one sees the full pipeline, so blame lands where you sit. And you are usually the worker nearest the rejection badge. Then a smooth batch happens, and hope returns too fast. The rows line up, the rubric behaves, and the queue accepts the flow. For one stretch, the dashboard looks manageable instead of punishing.
You imagine clearing the queue before the next review owns your breath.
You even picture finishing before your shoulders lock for the day. A small joke from a coworker feels bigger than it should. One clean benchmark pass can make the job feel briefly honorable.
Small relief starts looking like evidence the system can loosen. You tell yourself maybe the hardest weeks are finally thinning out.
Then one returned batch arrives, and hope becomes another unpaid task. The tabs stretch longer, the rows get harder, and the queue still waits. A bad review forces retracing, recounting, and proving after the fact. Platform traffic thickens, and every delay feels operationally expensive. Your eyes sting, and the whole shift turns meaner. The next batch still needs you before the last one fully settles. By now, availability feels like another name for surrender.
You keep clicking because stopping would make the day impossible.
The body asks for relief, but the queue asks for readiness.
Can you stretch one more batch into rent, gas, and groceries? You answer the only way this job rewards, by continuing. Dawn, or dusk, turns soft right when you are too tired.
Softness becomes another thing you pass without keeping.
A clean review can still feel like forgiveness from nowhere. Then you remember, one good batch is not the same as safety. The small human moments are real, but they do not rewrite rules.
The loophole is sad you survive by staying useful first. You learn the system rewards completion long before it respects limits.
You protect the benchmark, but nobody equally protects your body. You protect the model, but the model keeps borrowing tomorrow. And this is the hook that stays. The platform sells compliance as quality.
You can slow down, but bills keep the argument open.
So rest becomes a break room door you are too careful to use.
No single task breaks you. Repetition does the harder damage.
The prompts, the badges, the rows, the rubrics, the waiting queue.
Each part looks small, which is why the burden hides.
By now, you understand why this job feels public and invisible. Everyone sees the model improve, but not the arithmetic behind it.
Everyone sees alignment, but not the proving around it. Even kindness cannot remove the fact that you absorb the slack. You carry doubt, judgment, dignity, and blame between row and reviewer.
Some days you call it data work, because that sounds manageable enough. Other days you call it what it is, managed uncertainty behind a dashboard.
Still, you log back in because necessity can imitate loyalty. The system does not need your pride, only your continued compliance.
And compliance gets blurry when survival arrives one task at a time.
You were promised flexibility, but the benchmark learned your body first. By the end, the dashboard feels less like a workplace than a timer. Tomorrow starts with another queue and the same quiet bargain. If this felt familiar, stay with the stories work usually hides. Subscribe if you want more lives explained from inside the job.